Hello everybody, Julie here, and thank you for joining me. Today I'm going to be working on finishing off my altered book. It is nearly done. Today I'm going to do the cover and that should finish it off. So I've already cut out some pattern papers for this, and I was going to put this on the back and this on the front. And then I thought, oh, perhaps that one would look better on the front. But I've decided to stick with what I had thought I would do. So I'm going to just ink around the edges of these. How is everybody? Everything is good here. Been up to visit my mum again. I went up there for a couple of days. My daughter was going up there, so I just went along for the ride. And yeah, she's good. It's pretty cold, but yeah, we get around that, don't we? And yeah, so everything here is going along nicely. My husband hurt his back. He has a bad back, and every now and then it does weird things, so he's just getting over one of those times. But he has been out in the garden trimming trees and things today, so he's pretty happy with himself. I hope everything is going nicely and smoothly with you, and you're getting plenty of time to do some crafting. Right, so now I'm just going to use my art glitter glue to attach these pieces of, well, I've printed them on like fairly substantial, I think it's 200 GSM cardstock, because I didn't want them to be too flimsy. And I'm applying a fair amount of glue to them. So I want to make sure they stick. Not being stingy with it. Now I cut them so that they are just a little bit smaller than the actual book cover. So I've got that much around each one. Let's just burnish that down. Make sure that we get it attaching nicely. Flip it over and do the back. And that goes which way? It goes that way, I think. So that flower's pointing up. So the same deal. Whoops, got some on the front there. When I finish putting this together, I will do a flip through in a separate video, and once I do the flip through, this will be for sale in my Etsy and my Ko-fi shops. And once it's listed, I'll put a link in the description box for this video, and I'll also put a link in the description box of the flip through video. So let's put that on there. Get it straight. It's not really straight. I need to bring this over a little bit. Like that. I went to yoga today and oh god, am I out of shape. Very, very annoying. Now I've cut this piece to go on here, so that's going to go on there like so. And I think it's a bit hard to tell which is, I think I'll go with that way. yeah, so I've been pretty well hit and miss with all exercise lately. So it's time to get back into it and get serious about it. So let's line this up. See what we can do about getting that level. It's not really going to make a lot of difference, but I wanted to cover up that gold lettering on there. But I do plan on adding a doily over this. When I bought the book at the op shop, there was a very good, nice, pretty doily there, which was this one. And I thought, right, I'll buy that at the same time, and that will go on my cover. So I need to have a look at this and see which is the right side, which is the wrong side. It's very hard to tell the difference. I don't really think there is a difference, to be honest. So I'm going to put it on like that. So that will be stuck on there and go around the back as well. Now to stick that on, I'm going to, oh, do I want, because I was thinking of perhaps that much. That looks like about half each, doesn't it? So what I think I'm going to do is use my fabric glue and try, I'm going to try and stick, say, the front first. Don't know whether I'm going to get this enough glue on here to stick it down before the glue dries, sinks into the fabric. But I'll certainly try to get enough glue on here. Got glue everywhere, but what can you do? Okay, let's wipe that glue up so it doesn't get all over my pattern paper. And stick this down on here as best we can, like so. Okay. Now I need to turn that over. Perhaps if I stand on the edge like that and put, perhaps if I just run some glue along here, might be a good idea to help it stick. And that on there. Then fold that over. I'm pulling it sort of firmly, but not too firmly, if you know what I mean. I want it to, I don't want there to be sagging, but I don't want it to be so tight that it's going to pull against the glue. Oh. And now I'm going to put some glue on here. Just checking any places that don't look like it's stuck. Then I'll add extra glue if needed. How's it looking on the front? Front's looking pretty good. Alright, so I'm going to use some sari silk and some eyelets for the closure. So first of all I need to take this envelope out of this pocket and use my crocodile to add an eyelet in here. So let's poke that out of there. And let's have a look at about halfway. Go about there and pop that in there. I don't want it too close to the edge, but I don't want to take up too much real estate in my pocket inside of the cover. So that's got that out. So now I'm going to add an eyelet to it. So I've got these slightly bigger eyelets, so I need to just make that hole slightly bigger. Okay, so I've got the brad through the hole, but there isn't very much showing through on the back. So I'm not quite sure how this is going to work. Normally it has one of these little rings behind it to give it a nice finish, but that's certainly not going to fit over that. And that is as firm as I can get that. So, oh, there we go, that's all right. Okay, now I'm going to do the same thing for the back. I'm going to try and line them up as best I can. So, I'm just going to do it by eye. About there. Turn it over so I've got the... Take that out of there first. Now this one hasn't got any, see that front one had a couple of layers of pattern paper on it because it's got a pocket on it. So this back one might not be so hard. So I'm going to put my hole in about there. Go through that. I ended up using this old brush to get through and it worked quite well, so I'll use it again. Yeah, it's definitely nowhere near as hard this time. And it has got a little bit more room there. So I might put the little circle on the back one. There we go. Okay, so we've got our holes front and back. So now I'm going to use some sari silk. I've got some nice, this matches perfectly I think. So that about there. About the same length for the back. Now I'm wondering whether I will tie this off or whether I will go to my sewing machine and stitch it. I'll tie it first and see what I think. If I'm not that keen on it, I will stitch it. Rightio, so let's tie the back one on. If we think that poking out piece is a bit too long, well then we can trim it off. It is a bit longer than the other one. Might just trim a fraction of it off. So might just trim a little bit of that one off as well. Make it onto a little bit of a slope. Okay. So there we go. We've got our cover on, our doily on, and our closure done. Now I'm just going to make, oh, before I do that, I should put my envelope back in there and my bag back in there. Okay, and we can tie this up. Got some dangles hanging down in there as well. Got a bit of sari silk up the top. Okay, we can make that as loose or as tight as we like. Now I'm going to make some decoration to go on the front here. So I'll get myself organised for that and I'll be back. So I thought I'd like to put a pocket on the front with a tag in it, or maybe a couple of tags, I'm not sure what. And I came across this transparency. Now it's a printed transparency called Old Lace, and it's by Screen Prints. Now I've had this in my stash for I don't know how many years, 10 years probably. So I'm going to make it that wide. I'm just going to mark that there. I'm going to mark it to the same width as the pattern paper. Then I'm going to trim that off. I thought about doing a gusseted pocket, which I could have done, but I don't want the pocket on the front to be too loose. I want it to be firm enough to hold whatever I put it in place. You probably can't see what I'm doing over there, but I'm just going to trim this off. Hopefully I'm going to trim it off nice and square. And then I'm going to fussy cut around the top edge of that. So I'll put that on fast forward while I'm doing that. I'm not sure which way's up, so I'm going to go this way. And I'm going to attach that onto there. I'm going to use my fabric glue because I want it to stick firmly to that doily. And I believe fabric glue is really good for all sorts of projects, not just fabric. Okay, so I'm going to just pop it up a little bit, not taking it right down to the bottom. Right, now I'm going to make, I've got some strips here. Do I want to put some strips of pattern paper around the edge of that to give it a bit of definition, or not really? I think it might help it to stick in place. So I think I will put some on the bottom at least. I might not have it that deep. Let me find a pencil. Put that there. That's the edge. And get my trimmer out again. I have got a smaller trimmer. I should probably use that. One of those little guillotine ones. That goes there. It's funny how we get into these habits and we seem to stick to those things. Maybe about that, do you reckon? Or should I go for 3/4 of an inch? Maybe 3/4 of an inch. Just to be on the safe side. Right, let's have a look at that. Yes, I'm happy with that. So I'll ink around that. Let's stick that down. And once again, I'll use my fabric glue. So that should help to hold that acetate in place if it does want to lift off of that fabric at all. I'm not too worried about over here on the paper section, but on this doily section it could decide to lift. Okay, so let's set that aside to dry and let's have a look what we can use to make a tag or two. Okay, so I'm going to make 2 tags and I'm going to make them 3 inches wide, each of them 3 inches wide. So will be that one. And perhaps I'll make this one a bit wider. I might make this one, let's have a look. I think I'll make it 3.5 inches wide. Was it only about half an inch left? No, could make it 3 3/4. I'll cut it at 3 3/4 and see how I go. And if I need to trim it down, I can, can't I? Okay, so how tall do I want them? Now this one, I think I'll cut that off about there. So this one will be slightly shorter. And this one, I'm going to cut off about here. So this one will go basically to the top of the book. Do I want it that tall? Probably about that far. So how much is that off? Cut about 1.5 inches off the bottom, or 1 3/4 inches. So I'm going to cut it off this section here because I'll keep that more colourful section on there. I'm going to cut 1 3/4 off. And I can see that there is just a little smidge of white along the edge of that page. So I'm going to just trim that off. Oh, don't you hate that? Let me just trim that. Right, so. Okay, tell you what I didn't do, I didn't sew around my pattern papers, did I, that I put on there? I am a forgetful person. Now, I also think that I'm going to mat these onto some white cardstock so that they are nice and secure. So let's attach this bigger one. Because it's got to go into that pocket over that textured crochet doily, I want my tag to be fairly stable because it would be easy to bend and crease if it catches on that doily, and I'm guessing that fair chance it will as it goes in and out. I'm not going to be doing too much embellishing on all of these pieces because there's certainly plenty going on. Okay, this will fit on there okay. Rightio, so there's our two bases. I'm going to use my little doodad here and cut the corners off. Is that the one I want? Or that one? I think I might go for that one. Okay, now I'm going to make these tags. We all know how to make tags. I'm going to put an eyelet in the top. I'm going to thread some sari silk through it. I may use some coloured sari silk on these too. And then I'm going to take them to my sewing machine, stitch around the edges and ink around the edges. And when I've done all that, I'll come back. So I have finished the dangles. I've made two. I've finished the tags. On the back of this one, this is the smaller one, I stamped, I've used this ink, Versafine Clair, it's called Warm Breeze, and this stamp, woodware stamp called, what? Mini Flower Silhouettes, to stamp onto the back of that one. And then on the back of this one, I stamped using the same stamp but the other flower, and this one, Golden Meadow. So that's what I've done on the back, and of course I've stitched around the edges and I have inked around the edges. On the fronts I have added some dangles. Now I created these dangles ages ago and I've got them in my stash, so if I can remember, I'll put the link to the video where I created these dangles if you're interested, and I've put one on each one. Now they're going to sit in my pocket. I haven't put them in there before, so hopefully they'll sit nicely with each other. Like so. So that's cute, very cute. Now I'm just going to decorate the front of this pocket a bit and then I'm going to call it done. I don't want to put any more decoration on the tags because they're already pretty full in that pocket, so a bit of decoration on the front of the pocket now will probably see me through. Now I've got some, I could use some lace, but I think I might use some of this coffee dyed cheesecloth. I have used this elsewhere in the journal, so it all will all tie in together. There we go. So just a piece on there. I don't want to cover up all of the lovely acetate, printed acetate. You can actually buy acetate that you can print on too, so if you can't find any in the shops, well, you might be able to find some that you can print on and print your own designs on them. I mean, some of these digital kits, like this one that I'm using here, would look great printed on acetate. I haven't got any printable acetate myself, otherwise I would have printed some to go on here. But yeah, keep your eyes open for it if you like working with acetate and digitals. I'll be keeping my eyes open, that's for sure. Now, I have also fussy cut a couple of flowers from the pattern paper, but I think they get too lost. So, what am I going to do? I have got a bit of the pink paper that I used inside left over. What I might do is die cut some flowers and use those on there. That would be alright, wouldn't it? Or I have got some of the cream, but once again I think that would blend in too much. Well, what about if I put some of this behind those flowers? Would that help them stand out? No, not really. Alright, so I am going to have a look and see what else I want to do, and if I could even use you know, some of these colourful bits to cut some flowers out of and use those. Alright, I'll go and decide what I want to do and I'll be back. Okay, so I have used some dies. I used that die, Cottage Cuts Leafy Foliage, to cut some leaves, and I have used this Couture Creations flower die to cut some flowers, and I have assembled the flowers, and I'm going to just do one now so that you can see what it looks like, how I do it, I mean, not what it looks like, you can see what it looks like. So I take one of these flower shaping tools and you just push into your petal and pull back towards the centre of your flower. Do it from the back of your flower and you end up with this cupped looking flower. So put that there, then I'm going to do this one. So I'm doing 3 layers on this flower. I cut 2 of this size and 1 bit bigger. So one's got 4 layers and the other 2 have got 3 layers. I don't expect that I'm going to use all of the flowers on here. Now once you've got your shaping done and your inking done, you can stick these together. So all you need to do is put a little dab of glue in the middle of your flower, then lay your next layer on top so that the leaves or the petals overlap, they don't sit on top of each other, and then do the same with the next layer. A little dab of glue really is all you need, and then offset the petals once again. And then using our mat that we used for shaping, I put my flower on top of that and then take, depending on the size of the flower, this one I'm going to use this smallest ball, and just push down in the middle. And that, you can see, shapes up your flower so your petals come up instead of being pushed back. So that's how I create flowers. They are dimensional, but they're not excessively dimensional. So I like that. I don't want something that's way over the top. Now, I lost the piece of cheesecloth that I had before, so I've got another one here. And I have got these leaves that I have inked around, and I thought that what I might do is put my flowers like so with those leaves behind it. I'm not sure if I'll pop these leaves in there as well. Maybe I will. So that's my plan. So let's get started. I have inked around the petals, the leaves as well, so everything's ready to go. Leaves down first. I don't know whether you can actually see what I'm doing there, but I'm just putting glue on the back of these. I'm going to pop them down like so. And then, now I could put some gems in the centre of this. I might just grab a couple and do that. I've got these Papercraft rhinestones here. These are just clear ones, so they go with anything you're doing. Trying to get them out of the packet might be another bit of a trial. Now, I'm going to put a little dab of glue in there because even though they are sticky backed, I don't trust that. Where are my tweezers? going to put the bigger one down the bottom. Now I want like a medium sized gem for this one, not quite as big. Little double glue there, and take that gem and put that in there. Now, do I want more leaves or not? That is the question. Yeah, I don't mind those leaves on there, so I'm going to stick them down. I'm going to stick this down. And this one down. Okay, so there we go. So that's my altered book, all finished. We've got our dangles on there. We've got our flowers down here. We've got our pocket here with our tags in it. We've got our closure. And we've got the doily that comes around to the back. So that's it for today. Thank you for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I don't plan my videos, so I don't plan my projects, so you basically see them come together exactly how they happen. Okay, so yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, I'd love it if you give me the thumbs up. That would be great. Leave me a comment, all those lovely things. And I hope you can join me when I post my next video. I think my next video will probably be a flip through of the completed journal. Okay, bye.